Mr. Jerry Vaval, what's going on, brother?
JTG.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
Let's welcome the audience and our friends and our family to another episode of Giant Fundamentals, the podcast dedicated to empowering men by tackling the vital issues of mental health. With that being said, how's your mind? How's your heart? How's your body? What is your giant gratitude this week?
My giant gratitude this week would be I recognize that I'm in a space where I am reorganizing my inner world.
Mm,
And the reason why I say that is because I'm starting to notice that I'm attracting certain people,
mhm,
I'm attracting certain opportunities. And as a result, I'm starting to feel different about myself and to the trajectory that my life is going in.
mhm,
And the reason why this is my giant gratitude, because this is something where I've been working on for years. And I just felt like I kept hitting a ceiling, hitting the ceiling, hitting the ceiling. And when you're hitting the ceiling, it's very frustrating. But I'm recognizing that pain plus reflection equals progress.
mhm,
Shout out to Ray Dalio. Man, because it's not until the worst thing happens in your life, or you think it's the worst thing, because the worst thing I'm recognizing is also the best thing simultaneously.
right.
So it's not until you experience the worst thing and you go through the pain, and then it's as if life humbles you and you're forced to really sit with yourself. And it's not as if I never sat with myself. I've always been someone who's reflected, who's gained and gathered lessons from my experiences and other people's experiences. But a lot of times there's this one blockage there that's not allowing you to take that next step.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that blockage, in order for it to be removed, it hurts. But that's where you start to really go deeper. And now I feel like I'm reorganizing my inner world. And as a result, my outer world, like I said before, the opportunities and the people I'm starting to attract is starting to reflect what the inner work that I've been doing. So that's my giant gratitude altogether.
Gotcha. And that encompasses your mind, your body.
Yeah, everything.
Ooh, okay, okay. Uh, it's funny because I have a similar. Well, my giant gratitude piggybacks off your giant gratitude. So what I've been doing, at least the last couple of months, is when I journal. I take time to journal and also take time to read my old journal entries, uh,
Mm.
especially those that were like 2.5 years ago.
I was just talking to somebody about that this week, like going back, reading your journal entries and listening to them and like the aha moments that you get, you be like, oh shit.
Ooh, and what stuck out to me, not only about the aha moments, but what really stuck out to me is some of the things that I was struggling with, that I'm still struggling with, right? That took place in my journal. I was like, oh, okay, so I was dealing with this even 2 years ago, or I was aware of that struggle 2 years ago. And then just measuring how much better I am at it now, giving myself that grace and that confidence to say, hey, look how bad it was back then. One thing that I would share is like how much I was looking at my phone. Like I was drunk,
Mm.
how much my phone interrupted my focus. And I still have those moments now, but it wasn't as bad as it was 2 years ago, right? Kind of like we said.
Yeah, that's why I didn't see I never responded to your message this morning because I wasn't by my phone since I woke up.
Exactly. So it's like you said, back then thinking that's the biggest problem you have or one of the worst issues you deal with. And you look back at it, it's like, wow, it actually wasn't that big of a deal. And look how much better I've gotten since then.
Mm.
Um, and there was this Haitian proverb that I wrote in my journal that I don't know it in Creole, but in English it says, behind those mountains are more mountains. It was something me and you talked about when Mike Brown was at the podium and he was talking about adjusting and figuring things out, and how he in the regular season he is looking for adversity, and how now in my life I'm like, wow, behind those mountains, behind those problems or whatever those things are, there are more problems. There are more problems. There are more mountains. So it's like now I'm like at a point where I was like, oh, I'm looking for the adversity because I'm ready to test the work, the inner work that I've been doing.
Be
And
careful.
well, it's true. Be careful what you wish for, because we all know this week has been one hell of a week, boy. You like, damn, you like, whoa, things coming out the woodworks. But you know, I summon up my internal Bruce Lee and start, chopping shit away, blah blah.
Hey,
Woo!
you gotta go through some shit to get the Super Saiyan 3.
Exactly. So that is it's funny how all of this is aligned, and that's something that encompasses my heart, my body, my mind, because I'm like, okay, it's like, wow, like everything is this always happens every so often, but it's like as you transcend the level that you're at now, you're like, damn, like you said, Super Saiyan 3. It's like I remember when I was at Super Saiyan and then Super Saiyan 2, and I'm Super Saiyan, I'm like, wow, like it's similar, but it's like the pain plus reflection equals progress. But it's like, look how many different mountains you've been through your life. And then
Yeah.
as you look forward, just know there are more mountains.
Yeah. The journey, man. It's part of
For
the
sure.
journey.
And definitely another thing that's part of the journey is every 50 years we have a phenomenon, right? It's bound to happen. I never thought it would happen in my lifetime. I was actually hoping it wouldn't happen in my lifetime, but it is what it is. The Knicks are the champions of the National Basketball Association. It's been 53 years since this happened. I feel like as millennials, there's nothing we've seen now. We've seen
We see
every
that at all. We see it all.
we've seen it all. The Knicks have won. What are your
Um,
thoughts? What is something that stood out to you watching these finals?
listen, I have to start off by saying that I hate the fucking Knicks. I'm gonna start off there, right? I gotta get out of the way because I'm a diehard Heat fan, and
Let's
we've had
go.
pro battles with them.
Mhm,
I've been watching basketball.
mhm.
I hate them so much. But in the same breath, I do appreciate the run that they've had.
Correct.
I do appreciate how they have, as an organization, as a whole, they did it foundationally. They got a great team, like a championship team. We've been talking about that since the first or second round. It's like, okay, they have all the pieces. They have the superstar player, the clutch player. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who's more clutch in the NBA than Brunson, to be real with you. Like over the last 2, 3 years,
Mhm.
man, like you could just count on this young man.
He
He
changed
is really good.
he changed the narrative too, because they always say you can't build around a small guy.
Small guard, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
you what? So it's him, Steph, and Isaiah Thomas. That's the only three now. He's on
Mhm,
that. They're the top three small guards ever. Um, so I love Brunson, his character, man. Like his basketball character integrity, man. It is top tier. I don't think anyone has that over him. Like he
mhm,
is really, really good from top to bottom. He has the intangibles, like the mindset. I'm like, yo, he just don't stop
mhm,
coming, man. He just keeps going. That's why they were able to come back from that 29-point deficit because it's a culture. You can only win like that when it's culture, when it's embedded in who you are as a person and as an organization at large.
mhm.
So, and I love the whole team is great.
Yeah.
They have all the pieces. Josh Hart doing the hustle plays. Mitchell Robinson, same thing with the offensive rebounds. You got Cat stretching the floor doing his thing. They got the long wings with Bridges and OG. Like, you have Alvarado as a little pest. They have a championship roster from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So I fucking hate the Knicks, but I love basketball and I love when shit is done fucking right, bro.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
So shout out to my boy Marky D. Shout out to Jonathan Dalberis, Chris Dalberis, y'all boys, I know y'all
Don't
niggas
forget
never thought
Jason.
championship. Y'all niggas never taste champagne. Y'all finally get to taste champagne. So hey, kudos to you guys.
And don't forget Jason, Mr. J Reels.
Oh, yeah, J Reels, yeah, so
Yeah, I'm not gonna
yeah,
talk about the Knicks. Imma let them enjoy this. Imma just, in the words of Jay-Z, the best answer is no answer at all. We'll just let that ride. I did the math. By the time they win another championship, the Heat should have won 3 or 4 more. So I'm liking the odds on that. Um, yeah, I think that the San Antonio lost with grace. I think that they have a really good team as well, young team. They never made it to the playoffs as a group together. And look how far they made it into the playoffs this year. Like that
yeah,
is great.
major major fee. They don't have to they don't have to feel ashamed about anything. Like oh my god, their run was phenomenal. And talking about Brunson's mindset, Wemby's right there,
Yep.
and you know he's gonna take this and
Mhm.
he's about to get busy.
Yeah.
He's about to get busy.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the fire in his eyes when he was at his press conference, very humble and said, this is the toughest loss, but it was worth it for what
Mm,
the guys achieved and what they accomplished. And I see he was I mean, think about what they got through to get here
yeah,
and to lose.
yeah,
Which we all knew, especially us being parents. It's funny because we all know our children have to go through some things, but we still try to stop them from going through it. And we
yeah,
wanted Wimby to win. We really wanted it, but
yeah,
we knew that there was a certain level of pain
yeah,
he had to reflect on so he
for
could
sure.
later.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. It's just crazy that he got this far to experience that pain. That doesn't usually happen like that. He got pretty far. Man, the Spurs are they set up for the long haul. Just
Yeah.
prayerfully, hopefully that
Mhm.
they could stay healthy, relatively healthy, so they could, continue making their run. So
100%.
yeah.
Um, mental health music, next segment. What M&Ms you have for us today?
So I've been listening to the Iceman album
Ice, ice.
all 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 week. Just really taking my time. Like only music I listened to outside of that was my own. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah, I was just like, cause I'm, like I said, I like to beat it like a dead horse. Um, but there's a lot of different things on the album that I could really point to and talk about.
Mhm.
But one of the songs that I want to highlight is "Make Them Pay."
Mm,
Make them pay. Now, it's not, he's talking about, you know, his beef with different people, so on and so forth. That's not necessarily what I want to focus on. It's really just the hook, to be honest.
mm,
It's really where's that? I just wanna be free,
mm,
free. Yo, as I'm listening to that, I'm hearing different things. Of course, I believe there's an overall message there because he's also free from his record label.
mhm,
He's going independent. But for me personally, it's recognizing that a lot of us don't live freely.
mm,
A lot of us literally do not live freely, but we want to live freely.
mhm,
But what we do is we say, okay, I want to live freely. That is like the core message. That's subconsciously, I want to be free.
mhm,
But then on a conscious level, what we try to do is we try to, of course, living in a capitalistic society, we say, all right, I got to amass wealth. I got to make money. If I can go on trips, if I can do all these different things, if I can have everything that I want at any given time, then I'll be free.
mhm,
But that's not true at all. What really makes you free is psychologically and emotionally detaching yourself from what others think about you.
mhm,
What makes you free is psychologically and emotionally detaching yourself from your self limiting beliefs.
mm,
What really makes you free is integrating all the parts of your life. Okay. So for me, bro, I love to feed animals. I love the ducks. I love to sit by the pond. I love flowers. I love colors. I love music. So I make music. I love ratchet music. I love to
mhm,
listen to ratchet music. And then sometime along the line, I want to listen to gospel music. But then, I love basketball. And though I can have this peaceful exterior and be calm when I'm talking to different people, but when I play basketball, I like to get aggressive. I like to get angry. So I'm integrating all of those parts of me in my life. That's what actually creates a holistic life. That's how you're able to be free.
Mhm.
But what we do is we think that freedom comes with attaining, but freedom doesn't come from attaining things. Freedom comes from integrating all the parts of you that you have suppressed
Mm.
and that you've been ashamed of. That's where shadow work comes into the picture. And then freedom also comes from detaching yourself from self limiting beliefs and what other people may be thinking of you. That's why I chose that as mental health music. Free.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's his music. I mean, the whole Iceman album has so many double, triple entendres, so many different meanings. So even in that song, "Making Them Pay," and you talking about the freedom, I agree with it. And then I also saw from another perspective in the context of the song, I could relate where you've been beat down so much in your life, right? You thought your friends had your back. You saw how everybody turned on you through the hardest time of your life. And now you're just reassessing. You're looking back at it and you're like, man, I just want to be free, right? So it's like, and I can relate to that because when your value is put in other people's hands, you feel like you're in bondage when you let them down. There's
Oof.
shame, there's a guilt there, there's a
Ooh.
responsibility to be loyal to that viewpoint of what they think or who
Sunday
they
sermon, huh? Sunday
you know
sermon.
what I'm saying? I got a little, you know what I'm saying? Well, what they think, you feel responsibility to the viewpoint of what or who they think you are.
Yeah, or who
And
you should be, or who you think you should be.
exactly. And then when it all comes to a head because of this situation, in his case, the battle, the beef, and he seemed like some of the people he loved or was in his thought he was in his corner, went sideways. He was like, yo, oh, okay, I see how it is. Now I need to be free. I need to be free of this guilt, this shame. I need to really put forth maximum effort in showing you who I really am. Cause
Mhm.
y'all got me fucked up. So it's like, I get it. I want to be free. So that's something that I could relate to going through my divorce, public shame, all those
Mm.
different things. And like, wow, like,
Hmm.
okay. And then realizing who my day ones are.
Yeah, man, man, I'm a strong believer now more than ever that you have to go through some things, not only to see what you're made of, not only to quantum leap and get to that next version, that better version of yourself, but you really gotta go through some shit to really see who's for you, man.
Mm,
You really do. Because, and I know you can definitely relate to this, you are around certain people and you're having a good time with them. And it's cool, it's great, and it feels good. But when you go through something, man, you see how they react, how they respond, how they retract, or how they lean more into you. You're like, oh, wow. It's like your eyes open up. It's like, wow. And as humans, it's easy to take that personally. It's like, oh,
mhm.
all right, I thought you were fucking, you don't fuck with me. Well, fuck you. It's easy to take that personally, for sure. However, after you finish getting out of your feelings, there has to be a gratitude there
Mhm.
because I don't want anybody in my life just because I provide a certain value to them and for them. But once I can't do that anymore, then it's like, oh, they don't want anything to do with me. I listen,
Yo.
I need something to happen in order for me to see clearly because honestly, our emotions are always involved. We can say we're as logical as we want to be. We're not logical for real. Nobody's really
Mhm,
logical. Everything is emotional.
mhm,
So the good times cloud our judgment and we can't really see who's for us versus it could be that person that could be like, yo, I don't know if you want to do this because X, Y, and Z. That person, you be like, man, that person's not for me. But really, that person is for you. They're trying to look out for you, but you're so caught up in a good time. You're so caught up in your feelings. You're so caught up on how things look and how things feel that you're not able to differentiate between somebody really being in your corner versus someone is they're just there based off of what you can provide for them.
You know, it's funny you say that because I don't remember the line exactly, but there's a part in Iceman, the album, where Drake is talking about how dudes don't really know who their real friends are because life is good. So your friends ain't never had to choose between your friendship or what you provide, the good life,
Mm,
drinking and partying, doing your thing. Is when
yeah,
you down, you're like, oh, okay, now you have to choose. Now you realize they were
yeah,
just a good time.
yeah. Hmm. Mm,
That's really tough. And I think ultimately that does lead to our main topic, right? Because in this, one of the reasons men chase money, status, and success is because of those friendships, because the value they feel they're gonna bring from people, right? And that is the title of our main topic, is the real reason men chase money, status, and success, right? And it was a quote you sent to me that really stuck out. And I'm gonna let you flow. I'm gonna let you do your part in this Sunday sermon because I feel like you have a perspective that's really gonna blow our minds. Is many men spend years becoming impressive, but few spend time becoming authentic.
mm.
What was going through your mind? Because when you said this to me, I was like, okay, that's how I knew he's listening to Iceman. Because when you were the bars are just blah 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 blah. I was like, okay, he in his pocket right now. He in his bag. I was like, man, I was just wondering, like, what was your thought process that made you like come up with that quote?
Read that quote again. Read it again, please.
Many men spend years becoming impressive, but few spend time becoming authentic.
Yeah, the being impressive versus being authentic
Hmm.
is a challenge that most men have, and the reason why, the core reason, there's no other reason why, is because all of us are looking to feel significant.
Mm,
So we think if we're impressive, if we have great economic status,
mhm,
finances, build a business, if we can have the women, if we have the quintessential body type,
mm,
whatever it may be, all those different areas, we are leaning so heavily into them because we want to gain significance. And we think that that's the way to become significant because at the end of the day, every man wants to feel significant. If you think about it, every man wants to feel like they matter, like I
mm,
mean something. That's really at the core of it. So you see the desire, and that's what I want to make sure that I clear up. I want to make sure this is plain. The desire to want to feel significant is not wrong. That's human. That's
okay.
there's nothing wrong with that. But when significance becomes attached to performance, when it becomes attached to achievement, when it becomes attached to status, when it comes attached to relationships, other people's opinions, hmm, you get trapped in the cycle of trying to prove yourself. So now you think you're living life, and you see on the outside looking in, like let's say finances is a big thing. That's always a big thing for men.
Yeah.
So if I have all my ducks in a row financially, if I'm making all the money that I want to make and more, if I have my future set up, I have my kids' future set up, I I'm able to provide for family members, friends. I can go out, I can have a good time. Everything can be on me. You think you're living life, but you don't recognize that you're not really living life. You're really just proving, or you're in a constant state of trying to prove your worth, your value, and your significance.
Mhm,
That's not real living. And there's a fine line there because, again, at the core of us, we all want to be significant. And if you have been brought up in an environment where you were bullied, you were teased, you were criticized, your parents compared you to others, all of those different areas, speak to the fact that, A, I'm not significant. I don't have worth. I don't have value.
Mhm.
Now the survival mechanism kicks in. Okay, how do I become significant? How do I show my worth? How do I show my value? Now you go on this quest to prove yourself. And that's where all those other things like social economic status and being the ladies' man, having the quintessential body type, that's where all those things start to come into play.
So how do you, from your experience, especially dealing with men and being a therapist, how do you navigate someone's thought process when it comes to chasing purpose? Because I feel like sometimes we chase purpose in life to be significant.
1,000,000%. One
So
million percent.
how do you rework? How do you get a person to understand that they don't have to chase purpose or live a purposeful, how you say it? Purposeful life. There you go.
Yeah, I guess
There
you
you
can
go.
say that. Mm,
Purposeful life, um, to feel big or to feel important.
yeah. You got to go into the mainframe. You got to go to the core because it's
Mm.
man, this stuff is not cold cut and dry. It's not A plus B equals C. It's
Mm,
well, all my life I've been doing things to prove myself. I've been doing things to be significant and lead with purpose. This all stems from childhood pain, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna switch it up. I wish it was that simple. It's really not that simple because what's the best way I could oh, this is a perfect analogy. You ever when you were a kid, you ever played with Play-Doh
yeah. Yeah.
and then you had different colors and then you mix all the colors up together. You ever did that?
Yeah, yeah, sometimes I make like a colorful doodle. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So when it becomes a colorful doodoo, can you ever like have you ever tried to like take all the colors apart and then get it back to exactly how it was before you formed it into that colorful doodoo?
No, it's like they bleed into each other almost.
Exactly. And that is exactly what happens when you find out, man, I've been living my life just trying to prove myself.
Mhm.
I've been chasing significance and I've been chasing purpose because I want to deem myself as significant. I want to have value and worth. And it's interesting because it's like, yeah, you've been doing things to prove yourself, but in the same breath, the tools that you've been using to prove yourself are also God-given divine gifts to
Mhm.
get you down on that path to where you're going. But it's like the motivation to use those gifts to gain purpose, it's like it's convoluted. It's a good thing because good is happening, but it's also not good because at the end of the day, you're feeling empty.
Mhm.
So I feel like it's a it's a lifelong journey to be able to like detangle and detach your worth and your significance from trying to prove yourself and trying to move with purpose. It's not it's a very like I said, it's a very convoluted thing. And this is why it's important for you to sit down with a professional that is a professional therapist or even like certified coach to kind of help you detangle those things because at the end of the day, the thing that you use to move with purpose, it wasn't a bad thing, but it was just based off of survival. So now you have to figure out a way, how do I make this a thing where now I'm doing it from a pure heart, as pure as possible.
Mhm.
And I'm not doing it to look a certain way in front of the eyes of people. I'm not doing it to cover up a childhood wound, a childhood pain. I'm not doing it to prove my father wrong. I'm not doing it to just prove or to make my mom proud of me. I'm not doing it to just quiet the comparisons and the critique, but I'm doing it from a place of pure love, like divine love, because I exist, because I know I'm here for a reason and I'm just doing my part as I'm here. Not doing my part trying to prove something, but doing my part because I'm alive. I'm here.
So you did mention about one way, you know, or one thing that men do to feel significant is riches, is money,
Yeah.
right? And something that came to mind is I've always wanted to make a lot of money so I could take care of people. So I could take care of my family, so I could take care of my friends, having that feeling of like them relying on me and I'm coming through and I'm solving their issue. But I realized that it's really just from a place of wanting to be wanted, wanting
Mhm.
to feel important, wanting to be the man.
Yes.
So how do you, when you have men that come to you and you see that, like what are some things that you kind of walk them through?
Well, one of the first things that I have to bring in front of the table, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but you have to recognize that when you were growing up, the environments that you grew up in, love, attention, and acceptance were conditional.
Mm,
So because they were conditional, you're like, okay, there's something I need to do in order to gain unconditional love. And because in the society that we live in, the man is already baked into the role of being provider. That's all you hear. Provider, protector, provider, protector, provider, protector. So because we are known to be providers and protectors, we step into that role. And here in this country, how you step into that role is like you said, I want to be the person that's going to be able to provide for everyone around me financially. I want to be the go-to person. I want to be the person that people lean on. See the
mhm,
wrong with that. But what is the motive? If it's I'm doing this because I want to communicate my value. I want people to know that I'm valuable and I want to feel needed is unhealthy.
mm,
But if it's I'm doing this because this is who I am, that's a totally different story.
mm,
Because if you're doing it because you're trying to show your worth, what do you think is going to happen when you're doing all of these things for everyone, you're providing for everyone, and you don't get a compliment? You don't get praised. You don't get the pat on your back. You're not appreciated for what you do. What do you think is going to happen? Resentment is going to come right into the equation. Or you're going to feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I need to do enough. I need to do more.
mhm,
And it all hinges upon what were you experiencing as a child in the environments that you grew up in? Was love conditional? Was attention conditional?
mhm,
Did you have to perform to be accepted? Did you have to do things or be a certain way in order to receive love, acceptance, and attention? If that's the case, you already started to learn how to perform. And then as you get older, all of that happens, it just becomes more mature. That's where the success and the money and all this stuff come into the picture, feeling as if we provide these different things, then we'll gain that unconditional love, acceptance, and attention that we're looking for. But it's literally is like a hole at the bottom of a bucket.
mhm.
Pouring water into it, it can never be filled.
Man, I have no other questions. You keep going.
I think and we kind of like talking about it, like
Mhm,
where men gain significance from, but I want to like pinpoint specific places. Like literally, I want to touch on the unconscious monologue that we're having.
mm,
This is what we're saying. We're saying, I'll finally matter when I become successful. That's what we don't recognize that's what we're saying, but that's what we're saying. I'll finally matter if I'm successful. So let me build a business. That's for some men. Let me work long hours.
mhm,
Let me chase promotions. Let me accumulate accomplishments.
mhm,
Now, again, let's I want to stay with the analogy with the bucket at the hole at the bottom of it. Let's stick with that. We're pouring. So this is what we're doing. Building a business, we're pouring. Working long hours, we're pouring. Chasing promotions, we're pouring. Accumulating accomplishments, we're pouring. We're pouring. But there's that hole at the bottom. So the achievement feels good momentarily. But guess what happens?
Mhm,
The goalpost moves. Because again, there's a hole at the bottom of your bucket.
mhm.
So you're pouring, but it's never being filled. It's never. And we get into these roles, we do these things, we get into these postures because at the end of the day, we want to feel needed.
Let me ask you, because this is an unconscious, audible voice in our heads, right? Um, Subconscious, I mean. For example, throughout time, all right, I want to get a new car because I know if I get a new car, the girl's gonna like me. I'm gonna just, when I pull up to valet, I'm gonna feel more like the man. All these things, right? And I'm pouring into that bucket. Over the years, now I kind of convince myself, hey, I just like nice things, right? So I could see where some men was like, yo, I just like to have nice things. And then when you ask them, okay, why do you like to have nice things? Like, what is it about you having nice things? Cause
Can I stop you there?
yeah, go ahead.
I want to go back to two things can be true. You do like nice. That's the thing. It's never just one or the other. You do like nice things. But again, we go back to that clay. It's just convoluted. It's all mixed in. And it literally takes a lot of looking yourself in the mirror, being honest with yourself. Okay, you like nice things. That's great. You like how nice things make you feel. But you do also like how when you have nice things, how people look at you, that also makes you feel good too.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be able to separate those two. And this is when you become more secure in yourself. And whether or not people look at you or not, you're fine if you're able to do that work and be honest with yourself to recognize that, yeah, I do like nice things for me, but I do also like how when I have nice things, how people come close to me, how people look at me, how people speak to me, how people treat me.
Mm-hmm. So if a problem, let's say I lose my job and now I have to go from a Mustang to a Toyota. Isn't an issue now where I was like, yo, I can't go to this place or I can't drive this Toyota to certain places because now I don't want those people to look at me differently.
Well, there you go.
Mm,
There you go. That right there is evidence that you are doing certain things, buying certain things, having a certain lifestyle based off of what you will receive or the attention that you will receive from other people because that attention allows you to feel significant. So if you have to go from a Mustang to a Toyota and now you're adjusting where you go and who sees you, and so that what does that mean? That means your significance comes from looking a certain type of way, having certain things, because you know that when you look a certain way, you have certain things, you get a specific type of attention. You got to really, yeah, that's something you got to work.
mm,
Another thing too is being needed. See, this is the one I feel like it's very tricky because I feel like when it comes to finance and socioeconomic status, we can easily say, oh, yeah, he's making all this money because, or he can't stop making money, can't stop accomplishing because of the attention that it gives him, the
mhm,
praise. But being needed, and when I say being needed, I mean some men gain significance from rescuing others, being the fixer,
mhm.
being the provider, being the solution to everything.
Would that be a form of people pleasing?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. So this is the subtle one, and that's the good guy syndrome too. You
Yeah.
feel like, man, if I'm a good guy, if I show up for everyone, if I if I sacrifice myself, eventually I'm going to feel good about myself. I'm going to gain significance. I'm going to receive that unconditional love that I've always wanted to receive. But I go back to the bucket at the hole at the bottom of it.
Mm,
It's never going to work. I was actually having a session with a couple this week, and I do something called an attachment style assessment. That's just to see your attachment style, to see if, if you're anxious, if you're dismissive in your relationships, if you have secure attachment style, so on and so forth. And for the very first time, I've I've given this assessment so many times, but for the very first time, I have a couple that have the same attachment style.
Oh,
They are
wow.
both anxious, preoccupied. I've never seen that before, and both of them are extreme people pleasers. And you would hear the thing like, "Oh, yeah, if people pleasers, 2 people pleasers get together, it'd be good." No, it's actually not good. I
Mhm.
realized that. It's actually not good because they're not responding to each other. They're responding to the relationship dynamics that they've always had in the past with parents, friends, siblings. They're responding to that. So they just end up having like this silent resentment towards each other, not really recognizing it. But it's all because they're afraid that if I don't show up in this way,
Mhm.
then this person is going to leave me. This person is not going to love me. But at the deeper level, it's when you were a kid, you had to conform and be this good guy or be this good girl. You had to conform and be the person that was overgiving. You had to be the person that will always give to takers. And I expressed it. And I said, look, it will never work. It will
Mm.
never work when you're always giving to takers because I know the the equation in our brain that we're doing. Oh, if I give, eventually they'll recognize, oh, okay, so and so such a great person. Let me look out for them. No, takers gonna take
Yep.
and they're gonna keep taking. But it's interesting because I see two givers, but yet they're responding to each other as takers.
Give me an example. When you say responding as takers, is there like a s
Because it's
Mhm.
it's something personal. It's not like the other person is actually a taker, but you're viewing them as a taker because that's all you've ever dealt with. You've only dealt with
Mhm.
takers. So even though your partner is a giver, you're just seeing them as a taker because that's all you've ever dealt with. That's all you've ever, yeah, that's all you've ever dealt with. So it's like just reworking that. So I feel like, man, when you are chasing significance, it extremely impacts your relationships as well.
Mm.
And you don't even see that. And that's just the other part of it is relationships. Many men secretly gain significance through female validation, attention from women, being desired by women, being chosen by women. But it only temporarily answers the questions, maybe I'm enough. See, that attention piece, boy, you have to really see when it comes to opposite sex relationships,
Mhm.
when it comes to intimate relationships, as men, we have to really see what is going on in this relationship. What am I getting from this relationship? And that's a double entendre.
Mhm.
Okay. Getting from the standpoint of, am I receiving something in this relationship that is filling a void? Am I getting attention in this relationship that is allowing the childhood hurt, the father wound, the mother wound that I had to be covered up? Because if that's the case, that relationship is always going to fail
Mhm.
because that relationship is built off your insecurities.
Mhm.
It's built off of childhood trauma. It's built off a mother wound, a father wound. So that's one getting. But then there's the other getting is like, okay, am I receiving in this relationship reciprocity?
Mm.
Are my emotional needs being met? Can I really say that this person respects me just as much as I respect them? So those are two different types of getting. But again, you have to be able to sit down and really be honest with yourself on what you haven't received as a child. Because the thing is, we will go our entire lives chasing what we never had as children, not recognizing that as we're chasing this thing, as we're chasing worth, as we're chasing value, as we're chasing significance, boy, that thing is ruining our lives. It's literally chipping away at the fabric of who we are. It's literally causing us to feel like, man, I am I ever gonna be loved?
Mhm. Yeah, I think it a part of it too has to do with managing expectations because as we're chasing the significance And as we continue to add water to that bucket and we're expecting it to be full and it's never getting full, now, like you said, that resentment is so heavy,
Mhm.
so
Yep.
heavy. It's
Yep.
like automatic. Your floor is gonna be wet.
Yeah, all the time, slipping, falling, slipping, sliding, all of
Mhm,
that. Another way too that we try to gain significance is knowledge and intelligence, being the smartest person in the room. So we collect information, you read all these books, you get all these degrees, you watch all the documentaries because you feel as if being knowledgeable makes you feel inadequate. It
mhm,
makes you feel adequate, I should say.
yeah,
And it suppresses the inadequacy that you've always felt. Another way that for a lot of us too, being tough and independent.
mm,
Because we're always going to go back to childhood. We're always going to go back to the upbringing because that's where everything always begins. The
mhm,
first 7 years of our lives. If you were neglected, if you were neglected emotionally, if you were abandoned, then the survival mechanism of hyper independence kicks in for a lot of people.
mhm,
But then you develop this mindset at the core of you, develop a belief that I don't need anybody. And many men pride themselves on never needing anyone. But underneath that independence is often a wounded boy saying, nobody came for me before, so um, I don't need anybody. Like, I don't need anyone.
yeah,
But you're really saying that because you're hurt. So those are the
mhm.
ways that we can chase significance outside of money, status, and success.
When you say we're hurt, what does it look like from your experience dealing with some of these what they will call high value men who are at the top of the mountain, so to speak? Like they have a great relationship, at least from the outside. They have a great relationship. They got that Mustang back. They, they're wealthy. They're probably one of the wealthiest people in their friend group. Everything is going great at work. The kids are thriving. What do you see happens when they get to the top of that mountain and they're like, I don't know, I feel like something's missing.
What I see is they just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. They just keep doing the same thing, thinking that okay, I just need to do more. Like what I'm doing is not enough, so I need to do more. But really, what you're communicating to yourself is that I am not enough.
Mm,
But then by the time they get to someone like me, it could be challenging because there's a fear there. Because now I'm starting to bring these things up. We're starting to look at the past. We're starting to parse through their relationship with their parents and their siblings. We're starting to really take a good view at their childhood. And a lot of times there's resistance there
mm,
because it's like, hey, no, 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 don't touch that. I buried that. I don't want, nope, I don't want to touch that because that's where the wound is. And they spend their whole lives covering that wound up, their
mm,
whole lives covering it up, chasing significance, chasing purpose, trying to prove themselves. But now that we're going back to the spot, it's like, and I trust me, I understand. It's not easy because when you have to uncover those things, boy, oh boy, man. Talk about open up Pandora's box, and that's an understatement.
yeah. And I definitely
I
appreciate.
have to be compassionate and really patient with them because I understand that it is challenging.
No, and I think what I'm the main thing that I've got from this podcast, as well as our friendship, is thank you for reminding me that I'm significant outside of all those things. That I am important. Um, because that goes a long way. You know what I mean? If I never hit the $1 billion, if I never hit the game winning shot, if I never get the baddest girl in the club, you know, if I have to be in a nice Toyota for the rest of my life, I'm just as important as some of the people we glorify in society. Because I am a part of that society. I am a part of the community, and I play an integral role.
Yeah. See, the thing is, there's there's a there's different types of worth.
Mm,
There is the social economic worth, like the marketplace worth. Don't get me wrong, that's important. Like, can you elevate somebody else's life? Can you go to a job and move the needle at that job?
mhm,
Can you do those things? That's important. So I'm not going to act like, oh, well, who cares about those things? No, that's important because you got to live and you want to live well and you want to live according to, your standards. So building the skills to be able to raise your market level worth is important.
mhm,
But we can't continue to put the cart before the horse
mm,
because that's the cart. The other type of worth is your inherent God given human divine. That is something that is fixed because you are here right now,
mhm,
because you are alive, you have inherent divine worth. But you see, when you are brought up in environments where, again, you're criticized, you're sexually, emotionally, financially abused, you're picked on, you're teased, you're not in the in crowd, your parents neglect you, and you're continually experiencing these things. And I just gave a bucket of things where I talked about the little T's, which is like the bullying and the criticizing, but then there's a big T's with the sexual abuse. All those things play a major role on how you see yourself, how valuable you. But again, when you're first born, you have inherent worth. But
mhm,
the environment that you grew up in, it makes you think that I'm not worthy. I don't mean anything. I don't have any worth. So you go on this quest to chase worth, and then you say, well, if I'm going to be worthy, then I have to build up my marketplace worth. But it's literally like you're building a house on quicksand because eventually you're going to come to a point where you're going to amass all of this stuff. Your marketplace worth and value is going to be so high, but you're going to be feeling this heavy weight. You're going to be feeling this emptiness because you never dealt with yourself and you never reworked the terrible subconscious messaging that you are not worthy.
mhm,
Never worked that out. You never leaned into learning, understanding, and believing that your inherent worth is untouchable. It is everything. So this is why you can have someone get to the mountaintop, but yet when they get to the mountaintop, they feel as empty as ever.
yeah, well, I'm definitely gonna rework my clay of doo-doo, bro. That being said, I love you, man.
I love you too. Until we pod again.